Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything from hair to fashion to skincare products. We'll talk about the latest trends in makeup, hairstyles, and anti-aging remedies. And we'll cover all of the newest fashion trends. If you have an interest in or questions about the beauty and fashion trends that might work best for you, the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast has got you covered.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Betsy Scaresbrick, and I'm so happy to have you back here with me today. Not a lot's been going on again. I got another job, so now I will also be working at Heaven on Earth. It's called Chili's Restaurant and Grill. Maybe it's Chili's Bar and Grill. I should know that before I start working there. But I'm very excited to be working at Chili's. I'm excited to have another job, to have an opportunity to keep working in the middle of a pandemic and an economic recession. I moved into my brother's old room. My older brother moved. He had stuff at our parents' house for a while, and he moved a bunch of it out. And so I was able to go to the third floor. We call it the penthouse. It was an attic that was remodeled into another bedroom. Mostly, it's a huge room. It's like an apartment. So I'm very excited to be having my own space up there. It's going to be really cute. I didn't get decorations, but I've redecorated it already a little bit to make it a little bit more my style. And I'm very pleased with how it's turning out right now. It makes me feel very adult, which I am an adult, so glad that I am feeling like myself. So I have a good show for you today. I cover a couple of different topics. We're going to talk about anti-aging processes and, well, I guess not process, but anti-aging tips and products for people who are younger. A lot of anti-aging marketing is geared towards millennials and people who are like 35 and older about how you should prevent your skin from aging. But really, you should be starting as young as 20 to do some anti-aging prevention, if you will. We're also going to be talking about my own personal self-care night. Just steps that I take and products that I use and things that I like to do to kind of just have a me night and have a night where I can focus on myself and focus on my own well-being. We're also going to talk about ways to be kind of hand in hand with self-care, ways to feel like a real person while you're in quarantine. I realize that I have struggled a lot with trying to find a way out of what feels like a limbo we're in right now. You can't go anywhere. You could barely go anywhere. You can barely see anybody. With it, you should be wearing masks, all this stuff. It feels like life isn't real anymore, and if you're working, it just feels like the day is the same every single day, especially working from home. So these are just some things that I have found have helped me, God, it sounds so cheesy, but help me find myself again. That's very corny, but it's just helped me kind of find a sense of normalcy. And then finally, we're going to be talking about the Met Gala, and we're going to be talking about the 2018 Met Gala specifically, and I'll tell you why when we get there. So stick around, and we are going to hop right into anti-aging for young people. So this was requested to me by a listener who had heard me talking about anti-aging products for young people on an earlier podcast. Now, I'm going to be honest, as I am every episode, and in telling you that I don't have a ton of knowledge about this. All I know is from what I've read from various sources, like from dermatologists and other skincare specialists and other beauty news sources. So I'll just break down what are a few of the things that I know and that I have learned both from researching and also just from experience, from products that I've used myself. One thing that I have learned, and I know a few of my friends will say the same thing. I'm 22, but you can't start the anti-aging skincare regimen too early. No such thing as too early. Well, I guess there is such a thing as too early, but start sooner rather than later. I mentioned this earlier, for a long time, a lot of anti-aging skincare marketing was for people who were older than 30. And as a means to undo aging effects or maybe start trying to prevent aging effects. And recently, a lot has changed in these marketing plans, and they are now gearing towards women in their 20s. In an article from Marie Claire, dermatologist Dr. Loretta Serraldo says that young women should start taking skincare, specifically anti-aging skincare, seriously. She says by the time they turn 20. She says, quote, I am seeing more women in their 20s with lines and other stigmata of aging that previously hadn't surfaced until the 30s. A person's 30s, she means. I attribute this to the external factors that are aging us faster and at younger ages, including pollution, visible light, and even irritants, often from the multiplicity of products we are experimenting with, which leads to irritation and in turn to collagen breakdown, among other unwanted skin aging changes. So she talks about, pollution. I feel like that's it speaks for itself. She talks about, visible light, and I find it interesting that she talks about products that we're experimenting with, because you guys know I love skincare products and I love trying new skincare products, and you know who else loves skincare products? That's TikTok. TikTok loves skincare products and DIY skincare products, and I don't think it's a new thing for just TikTok. I know there are a lot of things that are on YouTube and in beauty magazines that are like DIY skincare hacks, or here are the products that you should try. And I know I talk about those things as well. But I think it's interesting that products that we could potentially be experimenting with could, while they maybe could help us in the short term, they could also help or hurt us in the long term with aging processes. So the basic thing you can do to start incorporating preventative anti-aging products into your routines is by using protective products. That means products like what Dr. Loretta says, like daily antioxidants, and also using an SPF, which we know, that includes ATV blue light protection. ATV blue light is everywhere, but Dr. Loretta has probably seen an uptick in early aging because of things like TV and computer screens, which are huge sources of blue light. Dr. Loretta also says, quote, it can also help to start doing weekly or monthly at-home peels like glycolic or physical peels, or using microdermabrasion and microneedling tools. I know Hiram has done a video on at-home chemical peels, but I have not seen it. So go check that out if you want to know his thoughts on at-home. I can't remember if it's DIY, but it's at-home chemical peels in addition to what this dermatologist's thoughts are. Dr. Loretta also says that she knows some people probably feel like their youthful, beautiful, glowing, taut skin they don't need anti-aging products yet. Their skin is just lovely and beautiful as it is right now because we are youthful and young. But to that, this article responds, quote, while you may not be able to visibly see signs of aging, there can be cellular damage caused by your environment that down the line will make you age faster and perhaps less gracefully than you'd like. Dr. Loretta adds, I think the best goal is to age confidently with healthy looking skin that has an even tone, minimal redness, and no very deep lines. And I think that's the goal for everybody. I think it's unrealistic for everybody to go in with the notion that they're going to age beautifully and gracefully and never have wrinkles and never have saggy skin, and you're going to look like no older than 40 forever. I don't think that's very realistic with so many varying lifestyles and varying skin types and genetics. So I think that's a great mantra to have. What Dr. Loretta says is that the goal is to age confidently with healthy looking skin. You don't have to have the perfect, Botox filled, unless you want Botox. Get Botox if you want Botox. But I think the goal should be to have healthy skin, not, the perfect skin. As usual, make sure you find anti-aging products that work with your skin type. I just mentioned there are a lot of different factors that can make a lot of different skin types, like your genetics, whether your skin is dry or oily or a combination. I found an article from Business Insider that gives a few products that are a good place to start. And a lot of anti-aging products can be found in drugstores anyway. So this article gives us a recommendation from a New York City-based dermatologist. Her name is Rebecca Kleinerman, and that product that she recommends is RoX Retinol Correction Deep Wrinkle Serum. The product retails for around $20 to $25, which is great because I've been doing a little research, and anti-aging products are expensive. Everything at the end of that Marie Claire article was more than $60. And, skincare doesn't really come in like bulk packaging. A lot of it is the 3.5 fluid ounce thing where you can take it on a plane with you. So affordable skincare is my favorite thing. Also, a lot of products like CeraVe moisturizers or other common products have some of the best ingredients for anti-aging. Real Simple did a list of 10 of the best ingredients for anti-aging. And some of these ingredients you can find in, like I said, you can find them in common drugstore products like CeraVe PM Face Moisturizer, and other ingredients you will probably need to purchase specific serums or chemical peels. And a quick note, I know that chemical peels sound like they're scary, heavy-duty stuff, but a lot of the time the peels are just made with natural fruit acids or acids that derive from milk, like lactic acid, that work by removing the top layer of dead skin cells from your face. And that is called chemical exfoliation, technically. So just wanted to put that out there because I know just even with myself, chemical peels sound very serious and heavy duty, but they're really simple and easy and not bad for your skin. It's not like you're throwing, it's not as scary as the word chemical is. So here are the list of ingredients you should be looking for in products so as to help with anti-aging. A lot of these work similarly in that they either hydrate very deep into the skin, help to keep your skin strong and firm, they exfoliate, or they protect your skin, acting as a barrier to outside irritants. So number 1, sunscreen. Duh, we know this. Most basic, easy to use, easy to find anti-aging product. SPF all the way, baby. You can find it in BB cream, moisturizers. I know there's conditioners that have SPF in them. But sunscreen is the most basic way to care for your skin. The most simple product, I think. The next ingredient are ceramides, which you can find in CeraVe PM. Third is collagen. 4th is glycolic acid. 5 is lactic acid. 6 is hyaluronic acid. I think that's how you pronounce it. Those you are probably going to need specific serums for. I know Hyram has a list of great serums that I know have those ingredients, but I don't know them off the top of my head. Next is jojoba oil. Next is niacinamide. Number 9 is retinol. And number 10 is vitamin C. And finally, here are a list of products from Good Housekeeping that are 15 of the best anti-aging products and wrinkle creams of 2020, is what this article claims. I skimmed through this list, and there are some pricey items, but so like if you'd want to splurge and long-term invest into your skin, which is, I'm not trying to shame you if you, I'm not saying invest in your skin, but you know, if you have the means and want to invest in your skin in that way, you would go for the pricier stuff. And there are also just solid drugstore products that are a little more, I would say, realistic and attainable for for purchasing it multiple times. Okay, so number 1, the best overall anti-aging cream is the Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair Daily Face Moisturizer with SPF 30. This is, you can find it, I mean, it's Neutrogena, you can find it a lot of places. The price runs for, this says $20, but it's on sale right now for $16.50 from Amazon. So it has retinol, it has SPF, and this review says, hands down, the best wrinkle cream I've tried. That's probably why it's number 1. Yeah, so I feel like I've actually used that before when I was in high school or something, and then I was like, I'm 16, I don't need to worry about anti-aging. Little did I know. Moving on to number 2, this is the best value anti-aging cream. And this is the Olay Regenerist Micro Sculpting Cream. A little bit pricier, around $24. It's, this review says, this moisture boost with Olay's cream that you can get outperformed 10 competitors, even a prestige $440. Oh my god, a cream for almost $500? Are you kidding? But anyway, that's wacky, but Olay Regenerist outperformed it, baby. Only $24. Save over $400 and just go for the classic Olay Regenerist. And I feel like my mom has used that stuff for a while, and it's tried and true, really reliable stuff that she likes a lot. Number 3 is the best anti-aging serum. This is the Metacell Renewal B3 serum from SkinCeuticals. Oh, it's $112. The review here says it was the best in the test at reducing the look of lines and wrinkles by 5% over 4 weeks. This has niacinamide in it. It's $112, so I shan't be purchasing it. But if you do try it, please let me know, because I will be interested to know if it really does work that well in a short period of time. The next one, number 4, is the best value anti-aging serum, and this is the number 7 Laboratories Firming Booster Serum. Now, this is a little bit more expensive at $42. Number 7 is one of those brands where I can never tell if it's high-end or just expensive drugstore. I think I'm leaning towards expensive drugstore because it is only $42, and a lot of their products are not, my jaw wouldn't drop when I look at the price, but it also wouldn't be the first thing that I went for because of it having a higher price. Nearly 80% of users found that their skin felt firmer after only 1 week using this product. So maybe that is worth the splurge if it's a little bit more than a normal, just, I wouldn't call it a drugstore, but it's definitely not $112. Oh, and this is interesting. So this product dispenses the product through a rollerball applicator to massage ingredients like peptides into your skin. So, I've mentioned using a jade roller before. So I guess I would have the same effect. It massages it into your skin a little bit more nicely than just using your hands. Number 5 is the best anti-aging day cream, and this is Rock Multi-Correction 5-in-1 Daily Moisturizer with SPF. People recommend it for everyday wear. In lab evaluations, the formula reduced visible spots by just 4.5% in only a month. My mom, I think by spots it means like aging spots. I know my mom struggles with. She's gotten a couple of age spots that she's found as she's gotten older. So I would wonder if she would try this out and tell me how it works. Next is the best anti-aging eye cream, and this is the Lancome Absolute, no T, Revitalizing Eye Cream. And this is $128. Good Housekeeping says that it is worth the splurge, and it has rose extracts, which you guys know I like, plant oils, vitamins C, E, and B5. The formula. This might be worth the splurge. The formula boosted skin firmness by 29% in just 4 weeks and increased hydration by 41%. One tester says that their bags under their eyes were almost gone. So if you feel like splurging, check it out. Number 7 is the best value anti-aging eye cream. And this is good old handy dandy Rock Multi-Correction 5-in-1 eye cream. This runs for $27.50. This product increased firmness by 19%, hydration by 20%, and reduced wrinkles by 10%, plus brightened dark circles and depuffed under eye bags. Well, look at that. I shan't be purchasing the Lancome Absolute Revitalizing Eye Cream for $128 when I could get this bad boy for $27.50. And it does basically the same thing, maybe with the less potency, but yeah, I am interested to try that. My dark circles have gotten really bad because my sleep schedule is super off. So I will be running to CVS tomorrow for sure. The next is, number 8 is the best anti-aging night cream. And this is the Resveratrol Lift Night Infusion Cream from Caudalie. It's $76, so it's definitely on the pricier side. But it increased skin moisturization by an impressive 43% over 6 hours. And and improved skin texture by 12% in 4 weeks. That is very interesting. So, and also all of these, but I say like in the testing, whatever, this is from the Good House. So the article is by Good Housekeeping. It's by the Good Housekeeping Institute Beauty Lab. And they have experts and test groups that they use with consumers, and so the consumer testers will report on their feedback on the product performance, benefits on the look and the feel of skin, ease of use, and which includes the application, texture, scent, irritation. And the products are also evaluated in the Good Housekeeping Beauty Institute lab with using instruments like the corneometer, which measures skin moisture levels, the cutometer machine, which gauges skin firmness, and the Visia complexion analyzer, which tracks changes in the skin, including wrinkles, texture, pigmentation, and pores. So yeah, that's where all of the numbers and the data are coming from. Moving on to number 9 is the Olay Regenerist Retinol 24-hour night, no, not 24-hour, 24 night cream, 24, I'm going to start over. Number 9 is the best drugstore anti-aging night cream, and that is the Olay Regenerist Retinol 24 Night Facial Cream. This runs for $29. You can get it at Walmart. It's fragrance-free, which we know Hiram loves, so that's a plus. This product raised skin's firmness by 27% over 4 weeks. 100% of testers agreed it made skin feel softer, and they also ranked it the best at brightening. One tester said skin was firmer and smoother each morning. And finally, at number 10, right? Oh, no, there's 15. I was wrong. At number 10, this is the best anti-aging neck cream. And this is the Neostrata Triple Firming Neck Cream. Runs for $88, a little bit pricier. As a reminder, you should be doing skincare both on your face and down your neck to your chest, because people be forgetting about the neck and the chest, and then sometimes that shows signs of aging the most. Testers say that it was the best at minimizing the look of their necklines and wrinkles over 12 weeks in standardized digital imaging. Moving on to number 11, the best value anti-aging neck treatment, and that is the Restore and Renew Face and Neck Multi-Action Serum by number 7. So this is confirming my suspicion that number 7 is just a little bit of a higher end drugstore brand. This runs for $34, and people say, according to the lab results, it was the best at tightening and lifting skin while also reducing the look of fine lines and wrinkles. Number 12, the best anti-aging hydrating serum. And this is from L'Oréal Paris. It's the Revitalift Derm Intensives Hyaluronic Acid Serum Ampoules. Ampoules. I don't know what that word is, but regardless, it only is $14 from Amazon. So the ampoules, which I'm guessing I'm calling them ampoules. If I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, please let me know. So it has hyaluronic acid, and this is a hydrating ingredient that can bind large amounts of water in the skin. So this is one of those ingredients that's super, super hydrating and can get really deep down into the deeper levels of your dermis. In lab testing, people found that the serum was absorbed fast and their skin was immediately moisturized, softer, and refreshed after one use, which is really nice. One use and you already can see a difference. Number 13 is the best natural anti-aging serum, and this is from Korres. That's Korres if it's Corries. I'm so sorry. This is the White Pine Meno-Reverse Deep Wrinkle Plumping and Age Spot Concentrate. 90% of women showed an improvement in fine lines, wrinkles, and firmness, and 100% in the look of pores. Now, this runs for $78. $78, and I don't know how much how much product you get. It looks like a small bottle, but 100% in improvement of the look of your pores, and almost 100% in an improvement in fine lines, wrinkles, and the firmness of your skin. I would like to try it, please. And also, if you try any of these products, please remember to leave a review and let me know if you have tried all of these products and maybe this list is wrong, you had a terrible experience with it. Also let me know, because I'm very intrigued by all of these. Number 14 is the best anti-aging eye cream with retinol. And this is the La Roche-Posay Redermic R Eyes Retinol Eye Cream. In the evaluations, people found that it absorbed quickly, reduced the appearance of fine lines, and diminished under-eye puffiness. It has a lot of retinol in it, which we know is one of those really good ingredients. And just people really liked it. It runs for $47, so a little bit on the pricier side. It doesn't really have like a lot of pros that other products that were cheaper. This doesn't have more pros than the other stuff that were cheaper. So it just has retinol in it. And finally, number 15, this is the best anti-aging retinol treatment. And this is Mary Kay's Time Wise Repair Volume Firm Night Treatment with Retinol. This runs for $52. And users say that this cream fights the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles and firms without drying out skin. And it leaves you feeling hydrated for hours. However, they do warn, like with all products that have retinol in them, you should wear sunscreen in the morning after using this product. So that's just another reason, if you use retinol, another reason for you to use sunscreen. All right, well, that's all I have for this segment. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to talk to you all about my self-care night. So stick around, and we'll be right back.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back. So if you missed the first segment, I talked to you all about things that I've learned from researching anti-aging products, and also things that I've kind of experienced myself, both in products that I've used and products I've seen my mom use. But so now we're going to get into my personal self-care night. So to me, self-care nights are very, very sacred. They are specifically for me to rest, recharge, relax, and let's think of another R word, and rejuvenate myself. It's corny, I know, but it's my me time. It's the time that I set aside for myself every week or every other week to do things that are fully about me. I take care of my body, eat yummy food that I make myself, watch my favorite movies, and focus on me. And I know I've talked previously about how sometimes the beauty industry feels like it's capitalizing on people being obsessed with skincare and self-care nights. And because of that, they are taking advantage of people and trying to, they're taking advantage of people who are trying to meet that standard of, you know, having a bunch of fancy products, and the fancier the product, the better you are taking care of yourself. I've mentioned this article before that I've read. It's by Gina Tolentino for The New Yorker. Please check it out because it goes in depth to a lot of that. But I want to emphasize that a night of self-care will be different for every person and will involve different things. But mine is where I'm literally treating myself to a few hours of full attention to my physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So with that, let me get into it. Now, I will say my self-care night usually starts earlier in the day. And I always try to make sure. So I try to work out regularly, but I always really try to make sure that I work out on a day that I want to have a self-care night because, you know, not that I have to, but it just makes me feel like this self-care night is that much more deserved and more earned. Like I took care of my body by exercising, and now I'm going to take care of my body by rejuvenating it. I try to make myself a delicious home-cooked meal. Recently, I've been super onto these pre-packed DIY dinners like HelloFresh or Blue Apron that they give you the ingredients, but you have to cook it all yourself. And my mom has been picking up stuff for me from the fresh market. And my current favorite is a ginger glazed salmon that comes with asparagus and mashed potatoes. And it's so delicious and comes with enough food for 2 meals. So I normally am able to make it 2 nights in a row. Or I make it and then eat it 2 nights in a row. And I will say fresh market, places like Fresh Market and Whole Foods and, you know, places of that nature are normally really expensive and overpriced. But these prepackaged meals are actually pretty affordable to me because I'm pretty sure they're only $16 or $15 or $16 a kit. So that's $8 a meal for a nice and delicious meal. So I say it's worth it because those things are so yummy. And they come with they have a ton of different flavors. They have stir fry, they have shrimp scampi, they have chicken, they have capellini, they have a bunch of different stuff and different veggie plates or beef or pork or whatever you're into. They have a lot of different options. So after I eat, I will take a shower. So my self-care night could either go one of two ways. I'll either shower or I'll take a bath. But so if I shower, I'm going to shower on the longer side, and I'm going to do all the steps, baby. I'm going to exfoliate. I'm going to wash my hair. I'm going to shave if I feel like it. If you want tips for shaving and shaving products, I did a whole segment on my last episode. So go check that out. I do a hair mask, the works. I wash my hair with, I've talked about this product before, the Amika shampoo and conditioner, and also the Amika hair mask is what I typically use. The shampoo and conditioner you can find $16 a bottle, which I know is a little bit on the pricier side, but I really like what it's done for my hair. The hair mask, I just got a free sample, so I've only used it I use it sparingly because there's not a ton in there. But you can get a pot of the Soul Food Nourishing Mask for $28, which is a little bit on the pricier side for a hair mask. So I would recommend the Shea Moisture Jamaican Black Castor Oil Leave-In Conditioner, and you can get a pot of that for like $10 at Target. To exfoliate, y'all know I've talked about this before. I use my Soap and Glory Scrub of Your Life body wash, and that's for $10 at most drugstores. Or I wouldn't say drugstores. I haven't seen it at CVS in a bit. But you can get it at Target or Amazon, wherever. If I do end up if I take a bath, it'll be a bubble bath. And I'll use my VitaBath Spring Green bubble bath and shower gel. I've talked about that before also. I think I talked about that on my first episode on my list of favorites. So if you want more description on that, go check out that episode. And if I take a bath, I'll do a face mask, and sometimes I'll do the Aztec Indian clay mask. I've also talked about this before, and I know some people have varying opinions on it, but I like it for using it sometimes. You can get it on Amazon for $12 and try it yourself, or something that's a little bit more simple that I like to use are the K Bella single-use mud masks from CVS, and they're like $3 a piece. I'm also a huge fan of the under-eye gel masks, and I don't know if they do anything other than just depuff your bags, but it's just one of those things. It's like a cucumber on your eye, but it stays on so much better, and it feels like it has more direct contact. So I really like the under eye gel patch things. After showering, I will moisturize my whole body. I use just Nivea's body lotion. It's kind of greasy, so I like to let it soak in a little bit before I get fully dressed. And also at this time, I will pour myself a glass of wine, baby. Lately, I've been on to rosés and Merlots. My favorite rosé as of late is the Dark Horse brand, and it's a little bit, well, I would say it's on the pricier side, but this is just coming from a recently graduated college kid. So anything that's more than $5 California Roots is going to be expensive. But it's really, really delicious, this Dark Horse. It's not too sweet, not too dry, and it's also not a heavy wine either. It's very fruity and berry, and it's just refreshing. It's very refreshing for summer. They also have a sparkling rosé, which I am also a huge fan of that as well. So after I get my glass of wine, I'll go ahead and light a candle in my room. Usually Bath & Body Works candles, because when they have those giant 3-wick candle sales, I go very hard. Actually, I believe they are still having a sale right now. So the big 3-wick candles for only $14.50 instead of $24.50. So definitely go check those out. My 3 favorite Bath & Body Works candle scents for year-round use are classic mahogany teak wood. I like cactus blossom, and also peony is just one of my favorite peony and gardenia. Those are 2 of my favorite scents. So I use the perfect peony candle. Currently I have the flannel candle in my room because they just released fall scents, and I don't know if it's a fall scent specifically. I actually don't remember if it's year round, but it's just a cozy scent. And I saw it on their website with all the newly released fall scents. So if it is actually year round, then that is good to know. Following that, I'll start up with my nightly skincare routine, maybe with a couple extra steps. And this includes my witch hazel toner, and that's Dr. Thayer's Rose Petal Facial Toner, which you can get at pretty much any drugstore, Target, for $10. For a self-care night, I'll also use my Kiehl's Vitamin C Serum. I try to use this stuff sparingly because it's way expensive. It is $60 or $68 for less than 2 ounces. And yes, this is yet another thing my mom let me have because she didn't use it. Thanks, Mom. I have looked up some cheaper options for y'all, and you could get the number 7, which we learned about them in our anti-aging segment. The number 7 vitamin C serum for $25 at like an Ulta or a Target. I think they actually have it at CVS or other drugstores as well. Or you could get the CeraVe vitamin C serum for $16, also at like an Ulta or a Target. For a while, I would use a Rose Hydrating Eye Gel Cream by Fresh, but I don't have it anymore, and it's very expensive. I think I got one of those sampler boxes that they would send, a subscription box that sends you a bunch of different products. Or my mom got it, and we split it, and we split the I don't remember where I got it from, but it's $40. So I probably I don't think I'll get it again because I honestly don't know if it even did anything. So because I don't have it anymore, I haven't gotten it again. Next, I'll use some kind of moisturizer. I'm almost out of my Laura Mercier Nourishing Rose Oil, another expensive product that my mom gave me because she didn't use it. Or I'll just use a simple moisturizer like CeraVe, depending on what my skin is doing. So if my skin is a little bit more dry, the nourishing oil is light, and I do use it relatively often, but if I am seeing that I'm having like a stress breakout or a hormonal breakout, I'll go with a moisturizer that has like a fresher moisturizer that's like CeraVe, or a moisturizer that has salicylic acid in it. And I know my last step in my skincare is that, I know this is kind of out of order, but I'll do tea tree oil if I'm having a breakout. And I do this last because tea tree oil is very potent, and when I'm putting other products on my face, I don't want to rub the tea tree oil everywhere, so I just put it on last, dabbing it onto my problem spots. So that finishes my skincare routine. And next, in this self-care night, it is time to get dressed. And usually during that whole skincare process, I'll have been wearing a towel or a robe. Like I said, the Nivea is a little bit greasier, but it's really, I've seen it work wonders on my skin, so that's why I keep using it. So I'll wear a towel or a robe to let that soak in before I put on real clothes. My mom just got me these incredible loungewear jumpsuits from Target that are basically just jersey fabric jumpsuit with a harem pant bottom. So they're very loose, very breathable, very, very comfortable. I have nothing else to say other than that they're just so soft and comfortable and perfect for a self-care night because they're cute. They're cute. So, you know, while you feel simultaneously comfy and cute. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know what I just said, but it's kind of like a confidence booster because I know that I'm not just, and this can vary. Like sometimes I just want to put on a giant t-shirt and shorts and call it a night. But, you know, it's a little bit cuter. And finally, I will hop into bed to settle in with a movie and my glass of wine. And what kind of movie I watch kind of depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes it's a rom-com. Sometimes a lot of the time it's a documentary. I really like documentaries. Sometimes it's a movie that's been on my movie list that I need to watch list. But yeah, at the beginning of quarantine, I started going through the American Film Institute's top 100 movies of all time list. I've kind of petered out on doing that, but I'm interested in picking that back up again. So yeah, the movie that I watch just kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for. If I want a comedy or something I can, release emotions to. If I want a good cry. So that's my self-care night. It's just a very casual, low key. I revel in the luxury of my processes, for sure. Something funny about self-care nights is that when I was in an acting class last year, it was an acting for the camera class, and we were doing a lesson on continuity. And so our assignment was to do an activity that you do every day. So some people did getting ready for work. Some people did waking up in the morning and getting ready for class. And you have to establish a time of day and a mood, whatever, acting class, blah, blah, blah. And I did my self-care night, and I talked to my professor before the assignment was due, and I was like, hey, I want to do a self-care night. I have to ask your permission for 2 things. 1, can I bring a candle? And 2, am I allowed to bring wine in? Because I was like, I'm 21. Am I allowed to bring wine in? Because he was very emphatic about the fact that it had to be truthful to what you do. And so I was like, if he says no, whatever, it's not a huge deal. But also, I wonder if I could get away with that. And he was like, you know what? As long as it's truthful to what you do, that's what the assignment is. And I was like, well, great. So that's what I did. I wore my pajamas to class the next day, and I didn't have the lounge jumpsuits at this point. So I just wore my handy dandy H&M sweat shorts and I think just like a tank top. And I had a robe, and I brought all my skincare products in. So I did like the witch hazel and the tea tree oil, and I think just moisturizer because we had a time limit. And I literally brought a box. For some reason, I had a box of wine at this point. I brought a box of wine in and a wine glass and a candle, and I did my self-care night. And I drank. We had to do it 3 times, and the class was at 9:30 in the morning. So I had, of course, I didn't fill out a glass of wine. I probably did like a sip of wine per take. But I was drinking wine at 9:30 in the morning. And it was really funny because I was doing this in front of my whole class and my professor who had been on Broadway. Or off Broadway. Regardless, he was a huge theater name. So that's a funny thing that I always think about when I do my self-care night steps. I'm like, yeah, I did this for my class. I drank wine in class. And that's something that is a fun fact about me. But anyways, make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves because we're in such a crazy, crazy time in the world. Check in with yourself physically, emotionally, mentally. Just be kind to yourself. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, I'm going to give y'all a few more ways to feel like a real person as we reach almost 135 days in quarantine. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the podcast. So, earlier in the show, we talked about anti-aging tips for your skin. We talked about my personal self-care routine. And now we're going to hop into a segment I like to call Ways to Feel Like a Real Person in Quarantine. Now, we've been quarantining for over 130 days at this point. And that is a crazy long time. That's almost a third of our year, right? Over a third of our year. So these are just things, little things that I've been doing to try and help me get in the swing of things again. I feel like for a couple months at the beginning there, we were like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna learn how to knit, and I'm gonna run more, and I'm going to do a lot of puzzles because we're not going anywhere. And that slowly turned into everyone just falling into madness and sadness, and a lot has happened in our world since then. There's been a lot going on, and a lot of important changes are being made. But we're all still supposed to be in quarantine, and we're also still supposed to be self-isolating, or at least social distancing when you can. So a lot of these things might feel kind of basic. They've just helped me. They probably are basic. They're probably some of these things are just like duh. But there are things that I have been doing that makes me feel like I'm acting as a real person operating in the world, instead of in this weird limbo of we're coming on the other side of the beginning of quarantine, where we were all scared of the pandemic and things are trying to go back to normal, but they feel like they shouldn't be going back to normal. And so it's a weird limbo. But the world is happening, and you are still a person, and you are still living every day. And I know every day can feel monotonous when we're in quarantine and we're all doing the same thing every day. But here are some of the things that I have been doing to try and, as I said, to try and feel like a real person. Number one, take a shower. You know, when you don't do things every day, if you're not going to see people other than your family, then what's the point of showering? Because, you know, sometimes, well, I take that back. A lot of the times I feel like there's like a pressure to shower because you're going to go be in a social situation. But if you're just with your family and you don't do anything all day, then what's the point of showering? Because maybe you didn't sweat today, or you have no reason to. This makes it seem like I'm not showering. It's not that I'm not showering. I was just showering less than I would do it like every other day instead of every 2 days instead of every single day like I have been doing my entire life. But a shower is just a quick way to feel refreshed and feel like a normal person, feel clean, and feeling clean kind of helps dig you out of a place where maybe you can get bogged down by just, you know, being a noodle and feeling like you're not doing anything. So a shower is just a quick and easy way to hop back to it. Next one, you guys are going to think this is crazy. Put on normal clothes. I know when quarantine first started happening, a lot of people were like, oh, hell yeah, working from home, gonna wear sweatpants and not gonna wear a bra every single day, and it's gonna be great. And while that is great, and I have been loving just wearing comfies all day, I've realized that maybe when I wake up and I don't change out of my PJs, that whole day just feels like, I don't know. I find myself it being like 4 p.m. and I'm still in my PJs, and that's okay sometimes, you know, do what you want to do. But it gets to 4 p.m. I'm in my PJs and I'm like, why do I feel weird today? Like, why do I feel like something is off? And it's usually because I don't feel like a real person. So maybe instead of wearing my PJs, which are like, I'll wear a t-shirt and shorts, I'll put on a different t-shirt with a bra and different shorts. And I've found putting on shoes. Like, putting on shoes makes me feel like more of a real person. It makes me feel like I have a purpose and I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to do something. Whereas maybe if I just walk around in just socks or my bare feet in my house, then maybe it's like a mental thing. But I've found just putting on shoes makes me feel more productive, more ready to face the day, ready to do things. And that's, maybe I sound crazy, but that's what I do. You know, just changing it from PJs to athleisure can be a huge step in having a different day than the monotony you have been facing. And check out the last podcast I talked about some of my summertime fashion favorites. So if you want some tips on some suggestions on what clothes to purchase, etc., what I've been feeling most comfy in during the hot months, go check that out. Another suggestion, maybe put on makeup, ? I put on makeup today because I decided I put on makeup and a sundress today because I decided I wanted to feel productive. And guess what, you guys? I felt productive. Now, later in the day, I hate the makeup that is on my face, not because it looks bad, but because I've mentioned this before, but because I haven't been wearing makeup so much, it feels like I have so much stuff on my skin right now, even though it's just the normal. I did my everyday makeup routine from a couple episodes ago, and I feel like I have so much makeup on my face. It's crazy. But you know, that's another suggestion. It's kind of like adding things back from what everyday life used to be in February to kind of bring some normalcy back to now. If you're working from home, which I know I just mentioned, we're super excited to work from home in sweatpants. Work at a desk. Does that sound crazy? Work at a table with a chair. I used to always work, like in high school and middle school, I would always do my homework on my bed, and I would study on my bed. And that was just because I didn't have a desk and I didn't want to be downstairs with the hustle and bustle of what was going on in my house. So I would just work on my bed. But then once I got to college, I found that I could only work at a desk. I could only work at a place where there is a table and a chair for me to sit and work. And I know that's another mental thing where you're not supposed to do work in a place. Like, you're supposed to do work in a place that's for work. You're not supposed to do work in a place that's for leisure. So that's another thing that can make it feel a little bit more real. I know a lot of my work is on my computer, so working at a desk makes me feel like not that I'm in an office, but that I have a workspace. The next thing is make sure you're socializing where you can. I know we're all supposed to be. We're all social distancing, and if you do see someone, you're 6 feet apart of them with a mask on, or you're an outdoor setting at a picnic where you can at least distance as much as you can. So if you feel comfortable, I would say trust, and if you trust the people that you want to socialize with, you could do some socially distant picnics or, happy hours outdoors. Just, it's important to check in on people, because I know a lot of people feel isolated right now, especially just having to be stuck inside your homes. If you are maintaining quarantine guidelines and isolating, you can FaceTime people. FaceTime is such an easy way to feel like you're with the person. That it's just a crazy it's a wild invention to me. FaceTime is just a video phone call. So it makes it feel more real than like a Zoom or a Skype. But Zoom parties are fun because you can have a bunch of people. So you could do a Zoom game night and be hanging out with your friends virtually. I've also been really enjoying Netflix parties because you can watch movies with your friends and watch TV shows with your friends, and you can chat in a little chat box while you watch. And I have found that I like it a lot better than watching with people in person because it's less talking. Like if you want to make a comment about the what's going on, you can just type in the little box. It's less distracting than talking during a movie. This next suggestion sounds so basic again, but exercise, get outside, get fresh air. The days are just so monotonous if you're sitting inside all the time working or just playing on your computer or playing on your phone or just watching TV. Even if you have to be inside all day, if you have to be working all day, open a window, see if there's a spot you can work on maybe if you have a porch at your apartment or in your house, you can work on your screened-in porch. I have just found that being outside for 10 minutes of the day already gives you a little plus 3 serotonin for the day. So it's a little more variety and a little less stale than being inside. And those were not a lot of tips, but that's just been something that's been running around in my brain. I am starting to feel like a real person again, and I know that the United States is not doing a great job at controlling coronavirus, to say the least. But if I know I'm doing what I can to stay safe and be cognizant of others, and sometimes that comes at a toll to yourself and to your normal daily life. And you got to make sacrifices where you can for the greater good. So these are just things that, not that I'm sacrificing it a lot, like I'm literally just doing what I should be doing. But I have found that these things have been helping to add normalcy back because we didn't know how to operate in this new world of quarantine and self-isolating and social distancing. And so these are some of the things where if I'm active about thinking, okay, I need to do this, then it brings me a little more peace and a little more, I'll say it again, a little more normalcy. But yeah, so get outside, get fresh air, exercise. I have found that just taking a bike ride around the loop in my neighborhood just wakes my brain up when I get into that late afternoon slump. And, we're finding ways to make things normal where we can make things normal. So that's all I have for ways to feel like a real person in quarantine. If you guys have any things that you have been doing to find normalcy in this craziness, please let me know, because we've been in this a long time, and even the puzzles and the knitting are starting to lose their novelty. So with that, we're going to go into our next commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to talk to you about my top 10 looks from Met Gala 2018. So stick around and we'll be right back.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast, dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Okay, we are back, and earlier in the episode I talked to you about anti-aging tips for your skin. I talked to you about my personal skincare routine, and I just talked to you about ways that you can, just a few ways that you can feel like a real person in the middle of this pandemic. And now we're going to hop into my top 10 looks from Met Gala 2018. Very specific, I know. And we're talking about this because I want to. The Met Gala is the biggest fashion event of the year, and obviously we didn't have one this year because of COVID. The theme was going to be About Time, Fashion and Duration. In honor of the Met's 150th anniversary, they wanted to take a look back at a century and a half's worth of fashion. While we didn't get to see any new iconic looks, a lot of people on Twitter had fun recreating looks from past years that were all posted on the first Monday of May, which is when the Met Gala always is. Something popped up on my Instagram Discover page from one of the people who recreated the looks for the virtual celebration that was had a couple months ago, and it made me reminiscent of my favorite Met Gala theme, and that was 2018's Heavenly Bodies, Fashion and the Catholic Imagination. So that's why we're talking about it, because it popped up on my Instagram Discover page. Now, this theme had kind of a lot of controversy surrounding it. A lot of people claimed that the theme was sacrilegious and offensive to the Catholic faith. You know, Rihanna was dressed as a bishop. Some people said it was a pope. I feel like it was more of a bishop. Anyway, a high-ranking religious Catholic figure. People were wearing rosaries as jewelry. I think some people had issue with Zendaya dressing as Saint Joan of Arc. And despite the fact that the Vatican had approved the theme and even lent some accessories and gowns for the show, people had a lot to say. Now, as someone who grew up Catholic, I would be lying if I said Rihanna's look didn't give me pause at first. But I think that was just part of the Catholic teaching that was ingrained in me since I was in elementary school. People were also upset because they thought the theme glorified the Catholic Church's super dark and terrible history, calling out their forced conversions of the peoples whose lands they stole to their many cases of sexual abuse in the history of the church. In acknowledging all of that, I think there's something to be said about appreciating the artistry and the beauty of certain aesthetics. And also, you know, that's a whole conversation in and of itself, separating the art from the artist. But the Heavenly Bodies exhibit presents, quote, the historic relationship between fashion, art, and religion, inspiring one another and resulting in some of the most innovative creations in the history of fashion. And that's a quote from the Met's president and CEO, Daniel Weiss. Now, because of all that being said, I'm just going to hop into my personal favorite looks because I loved most things that people turned out. I will say I was annoyed on Vogue's best dressed list. I was looking back at all the looks from the night, and on Vogue.com, on their best dressed at the 2018 Met Gala article, they literally picked some of the worst ones. People who weren't even in costume. And it's one of my biggest pet peeves when people don't dress up for the Met Gala, because it's such an honor and a privilege to go, and for you to just show up in a boring, like, men will show up in boring black tuxedos, or the women will show up in simple black gowns or just normal gowns that have nothing to do with the theme. Well, they look great and they look beautiful. What's the point of going to the Met Gala if you're not going to dress for theme? And that might be my inner theater kid being dramatic, but if you're going to dress, you got to go in costume, baby. Go with a theme. There's a theme for a reason. And now with all of that, my first favorite look of the evening was SZA. SZA wore a beautiful pink Versace gown that had a beaded jeweled bodice, ruffles on her hips. She wore some very glitzy thigh-high pink boots that also had jewels on them. And my favorite part, though, and this was a common theme of the night, was her crown. Now, this crown looked like one of the halos that you would see in like a Renaissance or a medieval painting that had the starbursts going out. And God, she looked beautiful. Absolutely stunning. One of my favorites. Next is Kate Bosworth. Kate Bosworth was in Oscar de la Renta. And she had this draped sweetheart neckline with a tulle silhouette, and it's this white high-low ball gown that has a bunch of gold accents, and it was accessorized with a kind of a veil that turns into a cape that was trimmed with a luxe row of beading. And the veil cum cape had slits for her arms, and it came together in a tulle gather at the back that turned into a train. And a lot of people said this actually looked like her wedding gown, the silhouette did. But she looks beautiful. A lot of the women who I saw as I was flipping through different images were dressed in a way that if they were like a Renaissance painting or a medieval painting. And that was one of my favorite things about it. Rihanna is one of my favorites, despite the fact that I was a little bit shook when I first saw it. She wore a pearl and jewel-encrusted robe, matching papal mitre and necklace, and Christian Louboutin heels, hoop earrings by Maria Tash, and jewelry by Cartier. And the entire look was designed by Margiela. I'm so sorry. Margiela. It took 250 hours to create, followed by 500 hours of hand sewing on crystals to create the custom look. And Rihanna's huge in the Met Gala world. I'm pretty sure she co-hosted with Amal Clooney this year. I can't remember exactly. Amal Clooney also looked fantastic. My next favorite was Chadwick Boseman. Now, not only is this man beautiful, but he's a man who dressed for theme. And the bar was low. People were just showing up in black tuxes or just normal average tuxes. But Chadwick Boseman rolls up in an all-white Versace outfit that included religiously inspired embellishments, gold shoes, and a cape. And he had this, so it was an all-white outfit. He had a white button-down shirt and a white blazer as a base. And he also wore these white, I guess more ivory pants and a cape that had gold crosses and other adornments that were embroidered. And the look was completed by red tassels that had a little chain across it. And it was, he looked fantastic. He looked phenomenal. My next favorite is Blake Lively. And Blake Lively always turns it out at the Met Gala. This was one of my favorite of her Met Gala looks ever. She was in Versace, Louboutin shoes, Lorraine Schwartz jewelry, and a Judith Lieber couture bag. And the whole gown, it was complete with an embroidered bodice that took more than 600 hours to make and $2 million of Lorraine Schwartz jewelry. A little fun fact that I didn't know until I was looking at all of these photos. The Judith Lieber couture bag had a medieval-style Reynolds family crest featuring the letters B, R, J, and I, a.k.a. Blake and Ryan Reynolds' initials, as well as those of their two daughters, James and Inez, which I think is really cute and sweet and a fun little detail that I didn't notice. But this dress was beautiful. It looked like the ornate gowns that you would see Queen Elizabeth wearing. It's a deep burgundy. It's just so beautiful. My next favorite was Amanda Seyfried, and she was wearing this Renaissance kind of style gold gown. It was by Prada. And a fun fact about this dress is that the shade of gold in her gown is the specific shade that's used in the flag of the Vatican City. Vatican City's flag is white and yellow gold, and so she used that exact shade as her gown. I mentioned before, huge fan of all the tiara moments. She looked beautiful. She looked ethereal. She looked like a goddess. It just was a really beautiful look for her. Next favorite was Priyanka Chopra. She was in Ralph Lauren, and it was a burgundy velvet with an incredible gold beaded hood, which she paired with a little bit of Cartier jewelry. And on Instagram, Ralph Lauren shared a close-up look at her golden hood and revealed that the custom piece took over 250 hours to hand bead, and it's made of red Swarovski crystals and gold beading. And she looked stunning. I don't even know how to describe the look itself. It just, I mean, I don't know. It reminds me of something, and I don't know what. And I think it might have to do with like a knight of some kind because of the hood. It looks very chainmail-esque. But speaking of chainmail-esque, I would say that this look won the night. And this next look, it is Zendaya, and this was inspired by Joan of Arc. I know some people maybe found it a little bit sacrilegious. I found it to be artistic and more honoring Joan of Arc. Her custom metallic Versace gown features an armored neck and shoulder piece. So she looked like she had these really cool armor shoulder pads on. A sparkling chainmail, they were beads that were beaded and threaded to look like chainmail. A spiked belt and a small train. And she also had a cropped wig that was in the style of Joan of Arc's hair, because Joan of Arc is famous for her bob, for her short hair. But she just looked so powerful and stunning. Like, Zendaya is another one of the people, like Rihanna, who always turns out Met Gala looks. Like Rihanna, Blake Lively. But I loved Zendaya's take. She was the only person, to my memory, that was dressed as a saint, but still done in high fashion. And I loved it. The next person I want to talk about is Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande is also having a very creative moment. She was in a Vera Wang gown that was screen printed with images from Michelangelo's fresco, The Last Judgment, which adorns the sanctuary wall of the Sistine Chapel. It had lots of tulle, and I'm a fan. I love tulle for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's very flowy and very ethereal. So she looked very heavenly. I was another one of those takes that was very creative that I loved, because, as I mentioned, we saw a lot of people dressed as Renaissance or medieval queens, which I think have a lot of like religious connotation with it. But then you have people like Zendaya dressing as Joan of Arc, or Ariana Grande using art in her gown, so it's just like a double hit of artistry. And my final top 10, number 10 is also, really these weren't in any order. These were just people who I knew for a fact that I loved their looks, and they came to mind. Jared Leto and Lana Del Rey. They are both in Gucci, and they came in with the designer, Alessandra Michele, who was also in Gucci. Lana Del Rey wore a cream dress with these gold accents, including, this was another just like interesting fun fact that I appreciated in her creativity of it. So her dress had a Sacred Heart chest plate with a bunch of tiny daggers in it. She had 7, which in Catholicism is the imagery of Our Lady of Sorrows, who is a variation of Mary and the 7 sorrows that Mary faced. So it was a clear nod to Catholicism. And she also had an ombre blue headpiece with wings on it. And I can't remember now, but I know I've seen artwork in a church that are those rings with the wings around them, which was what her headpiece was. And I know I've seen them like on a ceiling in a church somewhere, and I can't remember. But it looked reminiscent of like the seraphim, who have a lot of wings. But now I'm getting too nitpicky into the Catholicism. Alessandra Michele and Jared Leto also wore similarly intricate Gucci ensembles that had blue accents and golden crowns, and the three of them together looked like they were out of a Renaissance painting or out of like a Sistine Chapel moment. A lot of people said that Jared Leto looked like that westernized version of Jesus, and I as someone who had a big giant Jesus mural in their elementary school, Jared Leto looked like that westernized Jesus. I have a couple honorable mentions. Katy Perry she was wearing this mini gold Versace gown with huge wings. They were reported to span 6 feet. She looked amazing. And also, I want to shout out Cardi B. She was pregnant in her custom Jeremy Scott for Moschino gown, and she looked the most like a Renaissance queen. She had the big, full hips. I mean, it was one of... for a while, I thought Nicki Minaj's gown was better than Cardi's, but then at second glance, I loved Cardi's gown. Was incredible. So that's all I have for this episode. Thank you guys for joining me in this trip down memory lane with the incredible Heavenly Bodies Met Gala. I love those looks, and that's all I have for y'all today. As always, thank you for listening to the GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Betsy Scaresbrick. If you liked us, please give us a review on our website or on Apple Podcasts. We really, really appreciate it. Also, in addition to that, please review if you have any thoughts about things that I talked about today, or, what have you. Tell me what you're thinking. All right, that's all I have for you today. And thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network, from health and wellness to entertainment and life and happiness to sex and relationships. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast.